So in today's video, I'm going to talk about some aspects which are useful for people who are planning to get into a US university to pursue a bachelor's degree. And in some ways, this is similar to the videos I have made before for master's and PhD degrees, but it is also somewhat different. So again, like I mentioned before, for my videos for graduate study, typically there are three dimensions through which a US university looks at you. The first is through standardized tests. The second is through your grades or marks as reflected through your transcript. And the third is your personal statement or the statement of purpose, as well as letters of reference from some teachers, professors, and people you know. So let us start with the standardized test first. The standardized test, you essentially have two tests. So you have the SAT and you have the ACT. Now the SAT has a maximum score of 1600, and essentially half of this score comes from the mathematics section and half from the verbal section. And beside this, there is a writing component in which you can get up to a maximum of 8 points. Now, when I see the recent numbers, the mean in this exam is 1059. And essentially the way the SAT is designed, there is a targeted mean of about 1000. So different exams will probably deviate slightly from this. And a score of something like more than 1350 is considered to be a superb score. Now, if you are more interested in the ACT details, you can go to their webpage, which is collegeboard.org. That's collegeboard.org. Now, if you look at the ACT has a score ranging from 1 to 36. And here the mean is somewhere around 21. And a score of greater than 30 is considered to be a superb score. So again, you can get more about the ACT from the webpage act.org. Now, these two exams are very similar in certain ways and they are also different. I would say they are mostly tests of your verbal and quantitative skills which you have garnered throughout your school years at the end of your high school. But the ACT tends to be more focused on the science aspects. So again, that may be something you need to consider when you are thinking of giving these exams. So now there is often a question as to which exam you should give, and this depends on the particular university you are applying to. So you can check out their webpage and the information they have provided there. And if possible, you can give both these exams and try to check out which is better suited for you. So there are some people who do better in one exam and certain people who do better in the second exam. So one of the good practice ways is that you can give a sample test paper for each of these tests before you have started any preparation and see what is the baseline score which you get and how does it compare with the typical mean values of these scores. So if you are doing particularly well in a certain exam and then you are applying to colleges which are favoring this exam, then you can start preparing for this exam. Now, if you look at the second aspect, that basically the CGPA or the grades or the marks, depending on the country you are in. And this is summarized in a document known as transcript. And this transcript essentially extracts the feature of your entire high school curriculum and gives it into one single number, which can be your CGPA. So if we go by a CGPA of 4.2 as the maximum value, then a CGPA of greater than 3 would be considered to be good. A CGPA of more than 3.5 would be considered to be an excellent value. If we look at the marks given in percentages, the marks of more than 75% would be considered as good marks. Now, the CGPA typically becomes more important for people who are applying locally from the United States system. So if you are applying to a local university, especially a state university, then the CGPA becomes very important because the university people typically know the different schools in the locality and in the state, and they can make a good judgment about the candidate exclusively by looking at their CGPA. And this is the reason why many of the state universities are in fact looking more at the CGPA and less at the standardized scores. Now, if you are in a place where the schools are not very well known to the particular university, then it is a good idea to concentrate more on the standardized tests. Now, beside these particular two approaches of the standardized tests and the CGPA, the third is the aspect through which they measure your personal feeling about yourself as well as what people think of you. So this is where the human component of the student comes in. So the first part of this is a personal statement, which is a composition about a person in which he or she reflects about their own vision in terms of their life, and they need to spell out how this vision is going to be helped by the university which they are going to. So somehow the university or the department where you want to study must help to fructify this particular personal vision which you have developed through your school years. And again, to develop this kind of vision statement, it requires that you spend a lot of time reading literature, reading non-fiction through your school years, and have a multitude of role models so that you can exactly figure out what you need to do. So at this point, you must have a good estimate about where you are. So again, you need to be somewhat precautious at this point and somewhat beyond your years to make these kind of judgments properly. Now, beside this aspect, there is also the letter of reference, and you may need 3 letters of reference, and these can be from your teachers in your school, or they can also be from some people who may know you in some capacity, like if you have done some research at some university during a summer, or you were working with some charitable body or with some foundation, then you can give letters from those people also. So it is always useful to expand your interest somewhat beyond your school so that you can get a letter from somebody else, and this helps to give a 360-degree feedback on the particular candidate. So now these are the aspects which are required by most universities, and again, if you are deficient in one part of these things, then you can compensate by being very good in a different part of this particular system. So one important thing to remember when you are applying to a US university is that more is good but less is not bad, because if somebody has very good scores in standardized tests, that does show that the person is capable of many things and he has good quantitative and verbal skills. But if a person doesn't have good standardized score, that doesn't necessarily show that this person is not capable, because maybe this person is better at getting grades and is more focused towards experiments and certain different type of things which are not well captured by the tests. So again, many professors find that grades are a very good barometer through which you can kind of find out about a person rather than standardized tests. So again, there is a lot of dissonance in the community as to what is a good measure of a person, and so the best strategy is to try to maximize all these measures as far as you are possible. Now, a particular feature about UG programs or the bachelor degree program is they look at a 4th dimension, which is essentially the things which you do which are beyond your studies and beyond the standardized tests. So you may be doing things such as coding, you may be gaming, you may be taking parts in sports, you may be building drones and flying them, taking parts in charity, and also you may have done some research. So one of the best things you can do is you try to do some research on some problem in conjunction with some nearby university or college, and very often people are very willing to make you part of a research group, and you can do some work as a person there during the summer. And if you do these things, then these buttress your resume and application in terms of showing that you have certain desires and certain philosophies at this stage, and you have also matured as a person and you have developed certain goals in life at this stage. Now, beside this dimension, there are also ways in which you can strengthen your situation if you have somewhat weaker grades in terms of your transcript. So one of the ways is to give the SAT subject tests, and here the subject tests are in math level 1, level 2, physics, chemistry, and so on. And again, these subject tests can make a strong case for a person who may have not done so well in a particular discipline in terms of his high school grades, but he may want to show the committee that he or she has a very good background in this particular subject. Now, beside the subject test, there are also tests known as AP, and the AP tests are there in fields such as calculus, physics, chemistry, and so on. And again, the AP helps you actually skip certain courses in your BS first year or second year, and you get credits for these courses if you give the AP test. So again, you can save a lot of money by giving these tests, and you can also buttress your resume in terms of getting into the university, because the fact that you have already studied calculus or physics or any of these subjects before you have come to the university shows that you are very well prepared to take part in the particular program. Now, one thing about the US universities is at this stage they like you to dream big, because if you do not dream big at this stage, then they think that later in life you will probably be burdened by so many situations and responsibilities, and that's not when your dreams are going to grow larger than they are at this stage. So again, the things such as the personal statement, the things you put together should show a large vision in terms of what you want to do. So again, do not be shy at this stage, and make sure that you exactly spell out your vision, because if you do not aim for something high, then there is a zero probability that you are going to get there. So if you aim for something high, then there may be a low but finite probability that you are going to get there. And one of the reasons the US universities are very structured in their approach, and they look for a lot of maturity, vision statements and so on, because these universities tend to give a lot of freedom. They are largely unstructured. You have a lot of flexibility in terms of selecting classes. In fact, you can get into a university without a major, so you may decide your major at that point. There are also a lot of diversions within the university in terms of social activities. So they want to make sure that you can complete the degree program despite all these diversions being present, despite the lack of structure which may be there, and you having to decide yourself for all the different courses, majors you have to do and so on. So again, this is one of the reasons why the universities want to make very sure that you are not just good in your studies in terms of standardized tests and transcript and so on, but you also have grown as a person, and you are relatively precocious in terms of your age. So though you may be 17-year-old or something like that at this time, your actual maturity should probably be more, so that you can function in this largely unstructured situation and manage the freedom which the university system gives you. So this is something very important to keep in mind when you are applying for the BS program, especially if you are an international student and you are going to US. You need to keep this in mind, that you must have the maturity to manage the particular system there and do well there. Now, most people try to look at the research universities which are very well known around the world, such as Caltech, Stanford, and so on. But there are a large number of colleges also in the United States, and these colleges are typically 4-year colleges, and you can probably get admission and financial aid into these colleges without so much trouble. The other thing is, if you are a student in a particular state, then the state universities are a very good situation for you, and you should try to apply to the state universities, because they will largely go by the transcripts which you have got and the grades you have obtained from the high school situation where you are in. And in those cases, the cost is also very less for the people who are resident for those states. So these are certain things to keep in mind. So I hope this video was useful for you today, and if you want, I can put some more videos on this particular topic relative to the standardized courses and so on. So please put that in the comment section if you would like that. And again, please stay tuned to my channel and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.